Hi everyone, and welcome to Snapshots episode 9. This is how to analyze your headshot. But before we dive in, let me tell you who I am. My name's Gregan. I'm a headshot photographer and I've been shooting headshots for over 28 years. And in that time, I've photographed well over 20,000 lucky people and happy people, I might add. So I photograph actors, dancers, models, celebrities, comedians, authors, chefs, and just about everybody in between. And in that time, I reckon I've learned to understand what makes a good headshot and also how to help people analyze their headshots so they know whether or not they have a good headshot or not. A little bit more about me. I've written what I think is probably the only book in the world that helps actors get a better headshot. It's called The Headshot Bible, 50 Tips for a Perfect Headshot. And what it does, it's broken down, as the title says, into 50 individual tips and techniques that will help you improve your headshot. And hopefully, if you follow them properly, you'll end up with a perfect headshot that gets you more work, more auditions, impresses more casting directors, and ultimately helps you feel more confident about yourself as an actor. Okay, so let's dive right in. So why do we need to analyze our headshots? Well, we need to analyze the headshot to work out if it's working for you or working against you. Now, that might sound like a crazy thing to say, but it's absolutely true. If you're not getting enough auditions, if you're not getting any auditions, or you're not getting enough auditions, or you're not getting invited to the auditions that you think you should be, and you're not getting cast in the kind of roles that you think you should be cast as, then it could well be, and probably is, your headshot. Look, everything starts with your headshot. Nothing's changed in the 100 years that headshots have been used since the 1920s back in Hollywood and those sort of things. Your headshot is your main marketing tool. It's usually your first point of contact with a casting director, an agent or a producer, or anybody who can positively affect your career. And also those who can negatively affect your career. So it's your first point of contact. So it has to be right. Now, what happens is most people will find a headshot photographer via the internet or a recommendation, and they will go and see that headshot photographer, get some headshots, and start marketing themselves, sending those headshots out. If nothing's happening, people begin to wonder why, and often people think that it's them as an actor. They may think they don't look right. They're too old, they're too young, they have too much weight, they haven't got enough hair, weight on the face. There's all sorts of reasons. But the point is, you might be sending the wrong headshot to the wrong audition, and your headshot might not be the right headshot. There's lots of things that can go wrong with the headshot. Think about the eyes, for instance. What are my eyes doing? Are they connecting with you? Are they showing emotion? Are they showing personality? I don't think so. Let's try this one. Hey, I'm Nick. How are you doing? I'm pleased to meet you. Yes, yeah. I'm happy to see you, yeah. Suddenly, I'm starting to connect with you, and we're starting to talk to each other and communicate through the headshot. So the first thing we should be looking at when you look at your headshot is, are your eyes connecting with the viewer? Are they focused in the right place rather than this? Are they looking over the shoulder like that? Or are they connecting with the viewer? Do you have emotion in your eyes? Or are they just flat and blank and dead? Or is your headshot full of personality? Or are you just blank like that? Or are you indeed, hey, I'm Nick. How are you? Pleased to meet you. Well, that's how I do it anyway. So there's lots of things we need to think about, and we're going to go through those now. Okay, so let's dive into the technicalities now. There are 3 really important factors in your headshot. The first one is your eyes, which we're going to cover in detail in this first section of Analyze Your Headshot. Then there is the pose you adopt, because your pose says quite a lot about you. And then we're going to look at distractions and how the distractions draw the eye of the viewer away. Okay, let's talk about the eyes. Now, I use a thing called the headshot conversation every time I photograph somebody. It's about the conversation that I, the photographer, have with the person in front of my camera. And ultimately, the person in front of my camera, i.e., the actor, it's about the conversation they have with the person viewing their photograph, the casting director or the agent, blah, blah, blah. So it all starts with your eyes. And I've spoke already about connection, I've spoken about emotion, and I've spoken about the personality. And those are the three things that make up what I call the headshot conversation. Now, look, we as humans are genetically programmed, we're evolutionary trained to use our eyes to recognize danger or to make split-second decisions about whether something's dangerous. Is it big, like a big woolly saber-toothed tiger or woolly mammoth, or is it somebody, a nice person from the next village, warm and friendly? And this goes back millions of years, right? So there's nothing we can do about it. We make instant decisions in a split second about whether we like somebody or not. That's the effect your headshot has. That's what the casting director does or whoever's looking at it. And now we're going to look at a few pictures, okay? And that's what your headshot does. And there is scientific proof behind this. There is a professor in Princeton University in America, Alexander Todorov, who's done a lot of research on this. And he's proven that it doesn't take seconds to look at a headshot and make a decision about somebody. It takes a split second. It takes a tenth of a second before we look at the picture and we start to form decisions about it. And in most cases, in the research he's done, in over 80% of the cases when people were looking at those pictures for a tenth of a second, when they looked at them longer, they still maintained the same original decision they made. So we are trained as humans. We can't help it. We make decisions like that. That's the first thing. But also at MIT, scientists have proven that we process, that as humans, we process visual information 60,000 times faster. Get that? 60,000 times faster than we do textual information. Now, text's only been around in the form of writing a very short period of time in evolution in history, I don't know, 10, 15 to 20,000 years, I don't know. But, our eyes have been around an awful lot longer and we could recognize danger. And it still happens now. When we see something big, we can be intimidated by it. When we see something red, we think of danger. So there's all these things that come from the natural world. We need to apply these to our headshot to get the best results because we know that casting directors who are trained to look at images and have been looking at thousands and thousands of images for all their working life, that they make split-second decisions about whether you, the actor, are right for the part and whether you fit what they already have in their mind. And then if you're not, you don't even get onto the short list. You just move past swiftly and onto the next actor. So your headshot really only has split seconds to make a decision. Now, let's look at some headshots, first of all. Now, the first one we're going to look at is my friend Dave, who is he's a great bloke, and he's one of my long-suffering guinea pigs. So in this first headshot, we can see that Dave is just staring at us. His eyes are flat and dull and lifeless. His hair's a bit messy. The hood of his hoodie around the back there, that's a bit messy and untidy. But what the important thing is, the first thing we do is we look at his eyes. We can't help as humans but be drawn to somebody's eyes. So we look at his eyes, and what do we see? Nothing. He's not connecting with us. We don't see any emotion. We don't see a twinkle of any kind. There's no personality in him. So we would just whiz straight past him. He's not particularly likable. In real life, he's a top guy. Let's move on to this next picture. What do we see here? Once again, in a split second, you've already made your judgment about this guy. Do you like him? Do you dislike him? Is he threatening? Is he warm and friendly? Is he charismatic, or is he flat and boring? Well, look at his eyes. His eyes are sparkling, the twinkle, they're full of life and personality. He's looking right at us. He's connecting with us. And he's a likable guy. We like this guy. You can't help but like him. He's got a bit of a smile. He's warm and friendly and likable. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So here we are, the long-suffering Dave again. And if you look at this picture, we already know that his eyes are quite aggressive, quite suspicious. So first of all, we take a we get an instant feeling from that. But if we look at something else, if we look at the distractions, this is another big thing we need to do when analysing your headshot. We need to look at the distractions, things that are in your photograph, your headshot, that make the viewer's eye look over here, look down there, look over there, look over there, look anywhere but your face. Now, that can be jewelry. That can be big, bold glasses. Can be what you wear, backgrounds, all sorts of things. So when we look at this picture, it's quite a dark and moody picture, but the first thing that draws my eye is, first of all, Dave's eyes. Secondly, look at his hair. His hair is quite messy. But then I'm drawn up towards the right from his head to the really big dark shadow that's quite dominant over there. Then I'm brought back down. My eye rolls back down to what he's wearing. It's very dark, but he's got a scarf quite high, and these strong lines of the scarf here draw my eye and make me want to look at what it is. And then if we look over his left shoulder, there's a shadow in the background, like a square dark shadow, that really catches my eye. And what these things do is take the focus away from Dave's face to the background, the clothes he's wearing, his messy hair, shadows, all of those sorts of things. And that can, like I said, that could be a really big, bold necklace or big, strong earrings, or an earring catching in the light, all sorts of things. And in my book, 50 Tips for a Perfect Headshot, you will see I cover this thing about bin the bling, which is, in that particular case, it's about big gold jewelry, dominant jewelry, but it's just another distraction that draws your eye away from your face. So, as we can see, as we can see in poor old Dave's picture here, there's an awful lot of distractions going on, and he's not a very likable fella in that picture. So, you know, he looks furtive. Why on earth would we think about spending time getting to know this guy or like this guy? Okay, so far we've covered the importance of your eyes and how the connection to the viewer, the emotion, and the personality are really, really important in how your headshot is viewed. And you know, that's something I call the headshot conversation. So that's one thing. We've also covered how distractions can distract the viewer's eye away. Hey, no better way to put it. But how distractions, what they do is they take the focus away from your face. And remember, we only have a split second, a tenth of a second. We know that. So in that tenth of a second, your headshot has to do its job and focus the viewer's eyes. Now, there are other things we can think about when we analyze your headshot. We can look at backgrounds. We can look in more detail at your clothing. And we can look in much more detail at the expressions on your face and in your eyes. And I will cover that in the next video. So keep tuned, guys. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. Hope you like it. I hope you find it useful. And drop us a comment if you do. And if anybody's got any questions, or anybody's got any ideas for another video you'd like me to cover, drop me a mention. Email me, nickgregan@mac.com, or drop it in the comments below, and I will get on that as soon as I can. It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. And thanks to my long-suffering friend, poor old Dave. He's been a good egg. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks very much. And that's it from me, Nick Gregan. Oh, yeah, sorry, one last thing. Don't forget, I've got a fantastic webinar coming out soon about how to get the awesome headshot blueprint. And that takes you step by step through not just the things we've covered today, but all the other things that matter, and help you get an awesome headshot. And if you don't have an awesome headshot, a fantastic headshot, it's not going to grab the casting director's attention. And if you don't do that, well, what's the point of being an actor if you don't get their attention and get invited to audition where you can show them what you can do? Anyway, keep your eyes peeled. It's coming out soon. Anyway, guys, that's it from me, Nick Gregan. Thanks very much indeed.